Subscribe and don't forget to click on like, if you're still alive.
Conflicts over natural resources. George Bush is said to have decided in 2001 to invade Afghanistan at the instigation of an oil company, in order to allow the construction of a strategic pipeline between Turkmenistan and Pakistan. The elimination of the Taliban regime following the terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center would ultimately have been nothing more than a pretext for taking control of the deposits in the region, when he decided to attack Saddam Hussein's dictatorship in 2003. The Americans simply did not succeed in recovering the concessions, most of which went to their Chinese, Russian and British competitors. The Middle East is certainly not the only theater of operations where the role of hydrocarbons in armed conflict is overestimated. We also have the African territory. Southern Sudan has also been anachronistically reviewed in a country where oil was brought into production in 1999. And lately after Syria it's around Libya, a long and bloody war on the southern shores of the Mediterranean. Why? Because the guns are flowing, coming from all sides. Many countries, nearly a dozen of them, supply weapons to the belligerents on both sides. It's hard to estimate how many civilians have been killed in this war, but it's over 2 million, and it's going to continue after the last altercation between the US and Iran. Second Congo War. The Second Congo War is the largest war in the history of modern Africa, with its origins in the genocide in Rwanda in 1994. 9 African countries and about 30 armed groups participated. It is estimated that 5.4 million people died, not only from arms and violence, but also from the resulting famine and disease. Millions of people were forced to leave their homes to seek asylum in neighboring countries. Even today, the peace that was officially signed in 2003 remains fragile.
Russian Civil War. The Russian Civil War began in 1917, following the Russian Revolution during which the Bolsheviks overthrew the Tsarist regime. So this civil war pitted the supporters of the Tsar against each other, the White Army and the revolutionaries, the Red Army. The 6-year conflict took place throughout the Russian Empire and extended to Finland and Mongolia. Famines, massacres, diseases have claimed millions of victims.
World War I. There is no need to introduce you to the First World War, the conflict that took root with the assassination of François Ferdinand in Sarajevo in Austria-Hungary and which spread throughout Europe through a game of alliances. Opposing the Triple Entente, France, United Kingdom, USSR and the Triple Alliance, Germany, Austria-Hungary and Italy, this war mobilized more than 70 million soldiers, including 60 million Europeans. It profoundly marked its time and changed the geopolitical situation in Europe. The conflict itself is estimated to have claimed about 18 million victims, but some specialists also include the victims of the Spanish flu pandemic, which claimed 40 million victims in just a few months in 1918.
World War II. Not surprisingly, the Second World War took the sad prize for the highest number of victims. The Second World War involved all the great powers of the world at the time. Military losses were terrible, especially in the Pacific and on the Russian front, on both sides, but tens and tens of millions of civilians were also killed during this devastating war caused by the madness of one man. The infamous concentration camps claimed many victims, but also the massacres that took place during the German invasion of Eastern Europe, not to mention, of course, the use of the atomic bomb by the Americans on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In total, it is estimated that there were between 40 and 72 million victims, including 6 million Jews, as if the entire population of a country was wiped off the map.